Thank you, Mission Sahib, for a kind introduction. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So I have a very big subject here and have been given approximately 20 minutes, so I should be done a little past 11 o'clock, inshallah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ar-Rahman allamal Quran, khalaqal insan, allamahul bayan. First few verses of Surah Rahman. The gracious who taught us the Quran, who created man and gave him and taught him plain speech. So my talk is about speech and languages. This is going to be my first slide and would also be my last slide. So if you pay attention to this, I put the verses, the most relevant verses of the Holy Quran from Surah Rahman. Allah has created the man. He has taught him plain speech. So we firmly believe that God has taught us free speech and plain speech, but how can we demonstrate it to the world? That would be the theme of my presentation. So I have two tables here. One table is a table of prime number by these ones and zeros. Zero is the pause. So bleep, bleep, pause, bleep, 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 pause. So in this table, we have 101 prime numbers. And SETI, or the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, have made different criteria for themselves as how could they tell if the radio signal coming from beyond is not just merely noise, but coming from extraterrestrial conscious beings. So they said if there's for example, hidden prime numbers, that would mean that there's a conscious creator. So if that be true, which almost all scientists believe, that if such a radio signal came, it would be coming from some conscious extraterrestrial beings. Then if that be true, then my next table is an Arabic table borrowed from a Jewish author of an Arabic dictionary. This table has 50 spots in it, showing some of the beauty, organization, and complexity of Arabic mufradat, or the root words and the grammar. So if we see that in a language, in Arabic language, which is an unconscious production of humanity, there were no conferences to create this grammar or create this table. People were just randomly speaking languages. And if we can see these hidden tables in the language, especially the language Arabic, then that means Arabic is a revealed language. So when we go around at our jobs, reading newspapers, going to the colleges, talking to friends, watching television, how often do you come across people wanting to talk about languages and the origin of languages? Hardly any. But on the other hand, every so often, you will know a discussion about evolution. You would have gone to museums of natural history. It would be taught in your college courses and so forth. So if we metamorphose or change the subject of language into a subject of evolution, then we become relevant and we are talking to our fellow friends and our fellow Americans, and that is one thing I'm going to do today, inshallah. So these are 12 different phyla, or the main big families of human languages. So now there's a consensus building that all languages have come from one source. The consensus is building among the linguists, and there are 12 phyla, or the families. I'm not going to go over the names of these 12 phyla. That is for the experts to memorize and dwell over. But if we have learned anything from President Trump, then that is that the generalists can also make a big contribution. He changed himself from an entertainer very quickly into a politician, and then into the elected president, the president. And yesterday at CDC, he half-jokingly said, if I had not competed in the president, maybe I could run CDC. So we journalists can also make big contributions in this age of information if we gather the right information and utilize our resources with confidence. This is one of the most relevant verses of the Holy Quran about the languages. This is from Surah Rum. And among his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth and the diversity of our tongues and colors. In that surely are signs for those who possess knowledge. So there are conventionally said like 800 verses of the Holy Quran talking about different phenomena of nature and inspiring humanity to study nature and draw conclusions from those. And I would suggest that there are even 1,000, almost like 1,000 verses of the Holy Quran, and I've cataloged those in the Muslim Times. So the Holy Quran describes a lot of different phenomena of nature as signs for those who possess knowledge and who investigate and who research and who think. But here the languages part is unique, that when we study other aspects of nature, then the atheist scientists are usually able to demonstrate natural mechanism to show that these things could have happened by chance without the hand of God. So in showing those phenomena, like the flying of the birds or rotations of the sun and the solar systems and all the other natural phenomena, the believers can see the hand of God and the signs of Allah, but we are generally unable to convincingly demonstrate it to the atheists or who choose to be critical and not believe and so forth. But language, I would suggest that here we'll be able to make a case for revelation and for intervention of God and for God being the teacher of the languages. And in so doing, we are able to present a case for guided evolution as opposed to blind evolution where nobody was minding the shop and there was no orchestrator. So again, the 12 phyla of the human language is slightly a different picture. So in this age of information, as I said, that we all, the generalists, can very quickly develop expertise into localized areas, given just see what Google can do for us. In the past, it used to take a lifetime to figure out what are going to be the sources of information on a particular subject. It took a lifetime to gather the books on a particular subject, which we can do instantaneously almost in Amazon and order it for the next same week. So this gives us hope to really develop our expertise in fields that we want to. And with that intuition, I have been able to, with the God's blessing, change from myself from a physician to a journalist, and now here a philosopher of languages. So here is a tree which is linking all the 6,000 extant or present-day languages of the world, which are dying fast. This tree is not written in stone, but it is just to show you that a proposition that all the languages are coming from one source, and how the Indo-European languages and all the Semitic languages and the old African language of Bantu and Australian Aborigines language, they're all coming from one source. And one very simple proof that I can offer you that all languages are coming from one source is just the simple observation that we can adopt a child anywhere from the world, bring them to America, and when the parents speak English to them, the child picks up English. Just think about it. If we have an Apple or a Macintosh file, unless it's made compatible, it won't open up in Windows. So if different parts of humanity, different tribes, different ethnicities did not have the same language or the same hardware pertaining to the languages, then the children could not be taught each and every language at the time of their birth, depending on whoever the foster parents, for example, are going to be. So that's just a philosophical proof of kind of demonstrating this table, which is generally being accepted by most linguists. So this table I borrowed from this particular author, and all the slides are already there on the website, muslimscientists.org, so you don't have to just obsess over the details, but just get the principles and the essence of the speech and that will give you ideas of your own research and your own study as you go along. As most of us know, that Promised Messiah al-Islam wrote a book about Arabic language in 1895. It was published actually after his birth, but that was the year he wrote it in. Minanur Rahman, after he passed away, it was published later on. So there were three main theses in this book. He said that all languages are related to each other, which is being demonstrated today. It did not have to be the case. And his second thesis was that languages are coming from one mother tongue, and he said that one mother tongue is the Arabic. And so from some of his insights and what I'm going to present, I want to demonstrate that Arabic and all the other languages are a revealed language, and that makes God the creator of the human species. Because what really distinguishes us from the rest of the species is our languages. And the proof of it being revealed and given to us by God is the organization and complexity and the beauty and the detail of the different root words of the Arabic language. And he has put different descriptions about the beauty of Arabic in his book, but there are a few other additional things I want to share from my study. So this tree is about Indo-European languages, developed in centuries when sun did not set on the British Empire. So at that time, the Europeans were coining metaphors and concepts, how they were more special than the rest of the humanity and so forth. But in this day and age, in that time, the research showed that all the European languages were also linked with the other languages, and in this tree will link it to the Indian language and to the Sanskrit language. So even the study of Sanskrit in many ways helps us with a larger claim that the languages have been revealed and coming from one source. So the evolution is established reality now. Evolution means different things to different authors, and when we talk about it, it means different things. Like, for example, evolution means that all of the 9 million species on our planet are coming from a common ancestry. So that part is as true as gravity. The other part is, what are the mechanisms? Is it natural selection, survival of the fittest? There can be debate about it. And the third part is whether God had anything to do with the evolution, or was it totally a blind process? Whenever we talk about evolution, we are not talking about same things. But when I say evolution is a reality and is a truth, I'm talking about the common ancestry of all 9 million life forms. So when we do a demographics or a polling of the American population, some 45% believe in blind evolution. 45% believe in guided evolution. And about 10% are completely young earth. They believe in young earth. And because of their religious zeal, they think that Earth is just 6,000 to 10,000 years old. But then there are these two big groups, guided evolution and blind evolution. I mean, what arguments can they give to each other? And my hope is that my talk, I'm suggesting you a few arguments, like if you can tell the atheists that if SETI means there's a conscious sender of that message, then the organization and the beauty of the languages and the table that I'm sharing and was shared in the very first slide is a kind of a manifest proof that it could not have come out blindly, just like a signal of prime number could not come out blindly. And Charles Darwin himself hypothesized that. He said, if it could be demonstrated that any complex organ, here the language, exists which could not be possibly have been formed by numerous successive slight modifications, my theory would absolutely break down. So I'm not here to break down Darwin's theory. Evolution is true, part of it, as I demonstrated. We just have to show that there is guidance. God is guiding through the process of evolution. So when linguists talk about how languages are developing, they are just getting inspiration and confidence from the strength of the theory of evolution as regards the physical aspects of the creation. Different enzymes, hormones, DNA, cytochrome C, proteins. So take the example of cytochrome C. It is the human cytochrome C is very similar to monkey cytochrome C and differs just a little bit from the horses. When we look at the DNA of chimpanzees and humans differs only by 1%. And between humans and gorilla, the difference is only 2%. So there's so much evidence that of common ancestry. So evolution is proven. So in that sense, the linguists draw false inspiration from that and say that languages have been evolving. But the fact of the matter is that languages have only been changing. So in the last century, because of the smoke and the fog, we got the word smog, and the millennial today means a young person. So languages are not evolving in the true sense of the word. They are either devolving or they are just changing. So here I'm quoting two different authors that human languages have not been changing in complexity. They are not evolving. They are devolving. So it's a miracle that a young child unconsciously can learn languages, and we grown-ups cannot so easily, and we have to consciously learn, but a young child can acquire any language. And we very commonly see phenomena of devolution in the language, but there is no evidence of genuine evolution. There are make-believe theories being given by the linguists, but trust you me, they haven't shown any genuine evidence of evolution. So one of the present-day linguists is Noam Chomsky. So if you listen to his YouTube videos and so forth, you'll get to see a lot of make-believe theories, but no genuine evidence for evolution in languages, because languages have been incrementally revealed, and that is how Arabic came to being, and then it kind of, from Arabic, we got all the other languages over time. So here, for example, two quotes. One of the best-kept secrets of the Arabic language is the clarity and the logic of its verb inflections. Unlike the verbs in languages of Europe, the Arabic verb brooks hardly any true irregularities, that is, forms that cannot be predicted by rules. So they're very complex rules. So for example, here's a table from a dictionary made by a Jewish professor of Hebrew. This is an Arabic table, though. So there are 10 different possible forms. Just from the root word fa'ala, we could be creating 50 different types of words. And this is not complete. I mean, this is just some manifestations. For example, the first column is about third person singular. So in there, fa'ala means to do. If you look at the form 4, tafal, tafal means to interact. Form 7, infal, to be done or to be incited. Istafal means to invent or to fabricate. So I'm just giving you these 50 examples, but there could be a lot of other examples. Just we could make this table more and more complex. For example, in Surah Rahman, فَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ تَكْوَزِّبَانِ. That basically means that there is, in Arabic language, there is also a separate word for two people doing together something, which is kind of unique to the Arabic language. So this one table is just one example around one root word, and when we build a lot of these tables, we are given the complexity and the organization and the beauty of the Arabic language, and in that is the main argument for guided evolution, for God revealing these languages, just like a revelation of the prime numbers in a radio signal will basically imply extraterrestrial consciousness. So some quotes from this author. So the guy, Dutcher, I was quoting, the slides are there. You can read some of those. So he talks about the beauty of Hebrew, but he's not miserly and accepts some of the beauty of the Arabic language and so forth. And so in this day and age, we have to collaborate. So just the languages being revealed and being very complex and organized becomes a proof for guided evolution. So even if Hebrew or the Sanskrit was the first language, that does not change my argument about guided evolution. But I trust that based on the insights of Promised Messiah al-Islam, if we do the research, we will find that Arabic is indeed the mother language. So as I said, this is my last slide, and the argument I have made is that if we look at the beauty of the Arabic language, that and its complexity, that tells us that it is not a random process. It has not evolved. There is no evidence of evolution in the present-day languages. And the basic principle of science is that laws of nature are constant. Whatever we see today was happening yesterday. We cannot invent new rules for our new time and so forth. So when there is no genuine evidence of evolution in any language, which majority of the linguists accept, then we are left with obvious conclusion that the languages have been revealed, and the revelation happened in the past to the prophets. Revelation is happening today as well. Many of the scientists and the mathematicians have had true dreams. So in that, we see a great evidence for guided evolution. Jazakallah.